Alright, so before we start this video, we got a little bit of Eagles news happening. I think this is very, very interesting and something to watch. Get this. Shout out to my guy, Jordan Schultz. He wrote this. Comeback story. Veteran offensive lineman DJ Fluker is working out for the Pound Eagles today. League sources tell the outscore. Fluker has lost over 40 pounds and has been working tirelessly to get in shape. Howie Roseman continues the work the trenches. Now, Fluker, very talented, first-round pick, trying to make a comeback. What's interesting about this is Fluker, he played for Jeff Stoutland at Alabama. So he knows Stoutland. Stoutland knows him. He also was with the Chargers when Nick Sirianni was there. This could be an interesting signing to watch because if you get Stoutland's hands on him, the Eagles, they might have found another offensive lineman. This could be a very sneaky signing if the Eagles go on to sign him. Remember, we have 4 roster spots currently open, okay? Now, let's get to this video and expose them Cowboys for trying to break up our beautiful franchise. Did Devonta Smith really just throw Jalen Hurts under the bus? And is he really a top 10 wide receiver? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think right now. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So did Devonta Smith actually go out and throw Jalen Hurts under the bus? Or is this just another Cowboys conspiracy to try to get back at us for the DeAndre Hopkins situation and us having a lot of fun with the fact that he don't want to be there? And Devonta Smith says he's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. Is he? I say yes, but it's very soon going to be top 5. Now, we're going to get into it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you for all the support you give to me. It truly means a lot. Now, let's talk about this. I got to think about this, right? Because what I see here is this. This is my own personal opinion. DeAndre Hopkins goes on, I Am Your Athlete. Then, the next day, you got Devonta Smith on I Am Your Athlete, right? The podcast, I'm Your Athlete, the podcast. And DeAndre Hopkins, when he was on there, he basically threw Dak Prescott in the trash. He said, I don't want anything to do with him. I don't want to do anything with the Cowboys. He basically said no. Now, as an Eagle fan, we had a lot of fun with this. We were laughing, we were joking, it was so funny. And it pissed Cowboy fans off. We saw all the epic meltdowns. Well, the next day, Devonta Smith, he goes on the same podcast and he says something. And I think the majority of the people talking about this on Twitter and trying to make a big deal about this are Cowboy fans. And they're rushing to try to get back at us for what happened yesterday. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think Devonta Smith said anything really that controversial. As an offensive player, you have the right to talk about your side of the ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. This is what he said, right? This is what he said. He said, Devonta Smith says he feels the turnover is what cost the Pound Eagles the Super Bowl. Not hashtag, but pound. Turnovers, I feel like that's why we lost. As an offense, we gave up 7 points. Ultimately, that was the difference in the game. Now, some people may consider that throwing Jalen Hurts under the bus and saying, oh, well, you're just throwing him under the bus. But I don't think it is. I think that's taking responsibility as an offense, an offensive unit. I don't have any problem. He doesn't say, if Jalen Hurts didn't fumble that ball, we would have won. He said, if the offense didn't turn over the ball, okay? And I think there's a difference because you win as an offense, you lose an offense, you win as a team, you lose as a team, right? You turn over the ball as a unit, or you don't turn over the ball as a unit. What he's saying isn't wrong. It's not fully 100% right in that I don't think that's why they lost the game. It technically, I guess it is because you gave up 7 points. However, it wasn't all she wrote. The truth of the matter is the Eagles were up 10 points at halftime, well after that play even happened. So the Eagles were up 10 after that play had happened, and I don't think that was the cause. But it would have been worse if Devonta Smith said, "Yeah, if our defense played better, we would have won." If he would have said that, that would have been more controversial. That would have been more of a problem than to say what he said. Because then you're throwing the other side of the ball that you have nothing to do with under the bus. He's saying as an offense, we should have turned over the ball. Shouldn't have been turned over. It's actually a penalty, really, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. I think that we all know that those 7 points were, they killed us. They killed us at the end of the day, but we're still up 10 points. I think Jalen Hurts made up for it. And I don't think Devonta Smith was throwing him, I don't think he was throwing him under the bus at all. I think he was just being honest. Yeah, we don't turn over that ball, give up 7 points, we win the game. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's just that wasn't the only factor. The other factor was you were up 10 at halftime and your defense couldn't stop it. But I don't think as an offensive player you want to throw the defense under the bus. You remember back in 2008, if you guys remember, back in the NFC Championship game, it was the Eagles, Arizona Cardinals. And Donovan McNabb, after the game, threw the defense under the bus. That didn't sit well with everybody the whole season because it was completely the other side of the ball. What Devonta Smith said here, I have no issue with at all. I don't think it's in the full context. I don't think he's taking a shot at Jalen Hurts. I think he's trying to take responsibility as an offense, as an offensive unit. And that's what I see there. So I have no problem with it. The second thing Devonta Smith says is they ask him, hey, and I'll put these clips and the link to these clips because I don't want to play with my chat. I'm too scared. But I'll put the link to these clips in the description so you guys could check it out. But, then they talk to him about, what, does he think he's a top 5 receiver? And he flat out said, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm on my way. Then they asked him, are you a top 10 wide receiver? This is what he said. He says, definitely I would say top 10. Devonta Smith on where he ranks among the league. Do you agree? Where would you rank him? Blah, 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 blah. But they said, definitely I would say top 10. There's no question Devonta Smith is a top 10 wide receiver right now. Him and A.J. Brown are both top 10 wide receivers. The Eagles have 2 top 10 wide receivers on their team. Devonta Smith led the team in catches. And really, to be honest with you, I think that they used Devonta Smith differently early in the season than they used him later in the season. I think once Quez took a lesser role, they started using Devonta Smith downfield more. And that's why, you may look at his numbers, right? He has a lot of receptions, but he didn't have as many yards as A.J. Brown. Well, I think a lot of the routes early in the year he ran were a lot of small routes, a lot of short routes, a lot of wide receiver screens, a lot of 5-6 yard routes. It wasn't until really later in the year when they kind of phased Quez Watkins out that you saw him more intermediate to deep routes. So I think Devonta Smith is definitely clearly a top 10. And I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying this for months. By the end of next year, he will be a top 5 wide receiver, and it's not even funny. He is the best wide receiver on our team. And I don't say that to disrespect A.J. Brown because I like A.J. Brown a lot. I just think that this kid, I think the sky's the limit for him. I think he's such a great route runner. I think he has such great hands. And I think he's going to have a huge year. And I think A.J. Brown's going to have a huge year. You have 2 top 10 wide receivers. You're going to continue to have 2 top 10 wide receivers. But I like that Devonta Smith knows where he's at. He knows exactly where he is. He's not top 5 yet, but he's top 10. He has a good mindset right now as far as I'm concerned going into next year. You want to know and you want to be honest about where you're at, right? I don't sit there and go, I'm ready to go pose for Mr. Olympia. I kind of know, fat ass, you better go lose weight. Go take your fat ass to the gym. Go lift some weights. Stop eating that. Stop eating that. No Doritos, no Mountain Dew, none of that. No more cannolis. And then maybe, lift some weights and then come talk to me later. I know where I'm at. And that's very important. You got to know where you're at. Devonta Smith knows where he's at. And I expect him to take a big jump, a huge jump this next upcoming year. I think by the end of the year, I think Devonta Smith will once again lead the team in receptions. I think he will be a legit top 5 wide receiver. I think he goes well over 1,000 yards, as I do A.J. Brown. I think both those guys are a lock to go over 1,000 yards. The question is, will they have 3 guys go over 1,000 yards? Could they have Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert? Could all 3 of those guys go over 1,000 yards? Now, if that's the case and they could do it, that would be insane. But Devonta Smith knows exactly where he is, and you know, I really think, you know, I wasn't even going to do a video on this because it's just like I don't. First of all, I don't want to keep rehashing the Super Bowl. It's like a nightmare for me. It's a giant nightmare. But you know, then it's like, man, I'm looking at the comments, I'm reading people and what people are saying, like on Twitter, and I'm going, the people who are really trying to make a big deal of this are Cowboy fans, not even really Eagle fans. I mean, Devonta Smith, what he says isn't wrong. He's not wrong. Yeah, you shouldn't have given up 7 points. If you guys tackle the guy after the fumble and hold him to 3, you win the Super Bowl. Sure, you could have said it, but it's not the total context of the whole game, because the truth is they gave up the touchdown and then they went into halftime down. I mean, they went into halftime up 10 points. So they were up 10 points. They kind of made amends for it. Now, yeah, if you take the 7 points away, yeah, of course they win. And he's not wrong, but, you know, it's not the whole story. But, see, I don't think he can sit there and come out and say, the defense, you know, that fumble, and then in the second half, the defense didn't show up. He can't say that. That would be more of a problem than speaking on your own offensive unit, because he's part of the offense. But when you throw out the other side of the ball, you know, when you throw the other side of the ball under the bus, that's more of a problem. Think about, like I said, McNabb and the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't put much stock in it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it is what it is. Let's get ready for next year. And I can't wait to see Devonta Smith go off, as I've been saying, all off season. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. Okay, so I gotta say this. It may sound a little bit immature, a little bit dingbatish, but I can't wait for the movie The Flash to come out. Like, I'm waiting for The Flash. I'm looking forward to it. I like the character of The Flash. Now, I absolutely hate who they casted as The Flash from, you know, the Justice League and all that, and the Flash in this. I mean, you ever seen him run? It looked like he never ran his life. He never ran in his life, okay? How can he be the Flash? I don't get it, but he's the Flash. My point is this. This movie better be good, all right? I don't watch cartoons. I'm not a cartoon guy. But there is one cartoon I really like. It's called The Flashpoint Paradox. And it's a comic book about Flash when he goes back in time and stuff. This is basically taking from that movie, from that old comic book and that cartoon. It better be good. If it's not good, I'm going to be pissed off. You know, I'm seeing some of the previews. I'm getting a little bit nervous, man. This thing better be really, really good, or it's going to ruin my whole summer. Denzel Washington out.